Good afternoon to all of you. Once again, welcome for today's session. All the logistic and administrative doubts have already been answered since yesterday. However, to avoid confusion, I will reiterate it. You will get all your certificates by end of the camp, which should be by end of the month. You should be getting the learning or reading material during the period of the camp on your email ID, which you have shared or with which you have registered. We will have a Q&A session. Note down all your questions instead of posting on the chat and ask them into the Q&A sessions, because maybe during the session on the chat, we might miss your questions. YouTube channel has already been shared on the chat. Having said that, you can go on YouTube and search for UAE AI and you will get all the required sessions once they are uploaded there. All the sessions, I think the entire camp team is uploading in all social media, access to all social media, and have different aspects to it so that you all can access it. So that's all about administration. So before we start our today's session, we will just do a quick recap on what we spoke about yesterday. I all have attended yesterday's session. So if you have not, it's okay. Just be quiet and you can see the recording. For now, just to have a quick recap, we spoke about different roles, different skill sets which are needed in the gaming industry. We also spoke about different technologies which are needed for every individual to be aware of. We talk about skill sets and we talk about the process of developing a game and launching and making it live with respective producers. So basically what happens is, yes, yesterday we talk about all the aspects which will help you to plan, strategize, and act on your aspiration of developing a game with various technologies. Today, technology is not the limitation. You have the complete platter of technologies which you can learn and use in your game development process. And we also spoke about different programming practices and AI types which are important for understanding of what kind of experience we want to give to the users or game players for that matter. This is a quick recap. Now, today, our focus will majorly be on artificial intelligence. Understanding artificial intelligence, what are the important tools available in artificial intelligence, and how you can relate them to the game development process. Guys, let's be very clear and open that we are here to understand the complete perspective. We are not here to write and build a game. Building a game is just one small part of the complete process of being successful, or to make it simple, process of making money. We all need to make money, right? Aspirations, having aspirations to make money with the technology and with the products is fantastic. However, there are a lot of ethical practices which we all should follow, and technical practices which we all should consider while planning your gaming company or planning your games also for that matter. I hope that's clear. Now let's move to the next important part. Yes, I would request Marwa to mute everybody. There is some background noise coming from few of the participants, or probably Marwa or anybody who is in the admin panel. Great, fantastic. So let's jump into the topic for today. AI, I have minimized the chat. I'll not be able to see anything on the chat now, guys. So we will come back to the Q&A post towards the end. Let's focus on the topic today, which is a very important and crucial topic and very fundamental topic to understand on AI, artificial intelligence, and the future of work in all the industries is something which we all need to consider and work on. Game tech is something which we are trying to work around. Objective is to understand what are the different practices of games which we are planning to work. So, artificial intelligence and machine learning both go hand in hand. And for both of them, it is data which plays an important role. So, when we talk about artificial intelligence, we basically talk about imitation of all human capabilities which we want to happen. In simple terms, AI is nothing but creation of software that imitates human behaviors and capabilities. The most important capabilities basically talk about making decisions, giving experiences, interpreting the visual inputs, and identifying verbal, vocal, and visual communication. It also talks about engagement in conversational activities. So while we talk about these practices, we also talk about different types of artificial intelligence which play an important role when we talk about creating or having workloads. Guys, as we discussed yesterday, when we plan to develop a game, there are three important pillars. One is the designer, second is the developer, and third is the host or producer. So today, our focus would be from developer and host perspective on what are the points to consider while we plan to give that experience to the user who is working on creating the platform of different aspects. Now that's where the concept of workload comes into the picture. If our game is live, there could be millions of users who would view it, and there certainly will be thousands of users who will play it at same instance or even more than that. And that's workload. And that's where we need to take care of our hosts, which are clouds these days. A cloud is nothing but a virtual server with which you can host and deploy your games and share access to different people. So here, when we talk about common artificial intelligence workload, these were divided into 5 segments. First, a workload from the perspective of machine learning. This is often the foundation for every artificial intelligence game because the computer performs only what we teach the computer. So, a model to draw predictions or conclusions from data is something which is achieved or which is defined in the first, which is machine learning perspective, where we create predictive models based on data and statistics, which is nothing but the most important foundation of artificial intelligence. Now, guys, how do you relate it with the gaming? If you play games and if you want to predict what is going to be the next move of my opponent, that's where machine learning will play a role. Today, you as a player think and act, but we as AI engineers, as game developers with AI, based on the data and movement and experiences, can predict the most accurate level on what can be achieved with the help of machine learning. Second important part is anomaly detection, which is nothing but a capability to automatically detect errors or unusual activity in the system, which is to save our system from bugs, from crashes. Third can be termed as computer vision, which can be known as a feature of your product, of your game. The capability of software to interpret the world visually through cameras, videos, and images is something which is aligned with computer vision. The fourth one, it's natural language processing, where applications are responsible to interpret the verbal commands, the spoken languages, and respond to these commands. One of the classic example which everybody might have seen is Alexa's, Siri's, Google Homes, and all whatnot. What is that? That's of course NLP, which is natural language processing. And the fifth one is conversational AI, which is a capability of a software to participate and respond in a conversation, in a dialogue, like a human does. And that basically creates a fantastic value of what we are planning to achieve in the both the segments. I hope you all are with me and there are no questions. Now, while we go ahead, we will talk in detail about few of them. While learning this, because it is about prediction and different activities, we will have to be very careful. And that's why, as a human, we need to be ethical. We term this as responsible AI. There are a lot of challenges, there are a lot of risks with artificial intelligence when it comes to game, comes to day-to-day tasks, when it comes to using artificial intelligence. I think you all might have also seen or heard about the news in last years where there were few games who were playing with psychometric analysis or psychological aspects of kids and they are prompted to do suicides, right? That's not what we want to do. As a human, we need to be responsible, we need to be ethical, and we need to think of community. For betterment of community, use your knowledge and skills on AI, not from the destructive perspective. Artificial intelligence is a powerful tool that can be used to greatly benefit the world. In the presentation, I'll show you a few of the challenges and risks in day-to-day life or businesses. Biasing is something which we do not recommend to be created or trained to anybody in the machine. We don't expect and encourage to expose confidential data or information of people. We'll have users building these systems in different categories, because an AI based financial tool or a gaming tool will recommend and define different important aspects. So, to come out of these analyses, we have 6 principles of a responsible AI activity. First trait is fairness. Set of these 6 principles are designed to ensure that AI applications provide amazing solutions to difficult problems without any unintended negative consequences. So while you build a game or an application or apply AI, be fair. AI systems should treat all people fairly. Like, you create a machine learning model to support a player, but that should be used or equipped for every player who comes into the picture. Second principle is reliability and safety, where we have AI systems which should perform reliably and safely. Third principle is privacy and security, where AI systems should be secure and respect the privacy of every individual. The machine learning models on which AI systems are based rely on large volume of data, which may contain personal details that must be kept private by gaming companies. Even after the models are trained and the system is in production, it uses new data to make predictions or take actions that may be subject to privacy or security concerns. So we need to have the correct framework created and identified to apply this AI. The fourth one is inclusiveness. AI systems should empower everyone and engage people. AI should bring benefits to all parts of society, regardless of physical ability, gender, sexual orientation, ethnicity, or any other factors. Fifth principle is transparency. AI systems should be understandable. Users should be made fully aware of the purpose of the game and how it works and what are the limitations which can be expected. And the sixth one is accountability. People should be accountable for AI systems. Designers and developers of AI based games should work within a framework of governance and organizational principles which ensure correct solution. With these principles of AI, let us proceed further on the second important concept which we need to learn. As I spoke, that AI and machine learning goes hand in hand, because to achieve AI we need machine learning. To have machine learning work correctly we need data. It's all interlinked. I have been talking about machine learning from the moment we started the session today, AI and machine learning. We all need to know exactly on what is the role of machine learning and what can be expected. Machine learning is the foundation of most of AI games, which enable the creation of models that predict unknown values and infer the insight which are observed from data. So, how do you think machine learns, or machines learn for that matter? What do you think on how do machines learn? The answer is from data. In today's world, We create huge volume of data as we go about our everyday lives. From the text messages to emails to social media posts, we send a lot of things, photographs, text, pictures, and everything for that matter. Data is still created by millions of sensors around our environment. Data scientists ideally use all the data to train machine learning that can make predictions and interfere based on the data. So machine learning is a process of creating predictive models by finding correct relationship in the data. Like you can see on the screen, we have different types of flowers and they are named scientifically. Now the objective is when we put it into the machine learning, it is responsible or we expect it to understand how a man, a human can think. And with these human things, they will be further classified so that machine understands on what and which flower is a particular activity. So there are three different types in within the machine learning where data is defined and labeled. The first of this type to understand is regression. Guys, will not go into the depth of it, but I want you to know these terms. Regression is a form of machine learning that is used to predict a numeric or a label based on the features. So as you see, this is a classic example there about having temperature and bicycles related to that temperature, which are termed as an X and Y, as you do in your mathematics class. And there is a statistics which is around these values, where we label and differentiate between training data and validating data. Because we will have different set of regression aligned in the platform to have different components of regression recreated. Regression is an example of supervised machine learning technique in which you train a model using data that includes both features and known values for the label. So supervised learning is an important part which have different formulas and create the complete regression techniques where we train the data and then validate the data to get the accuracy. Second important type of machine learning is classification. Classification is a form of machine learning that is used to predict which category or class or item it belongs to. For an example, two players with their coordinates or health workers with their coordinates. The purpose is same, to classify and divide them. Probably I'll take the recent example, COVID positive patients and COVID negative patients. This is classifying activities. There are different further types of classification which works on different segments of values and training mechanisms with these coordinates. And that's how the correct data is classified and labeled on what is actual data and what is predicted data. So true, false, positive, and false, negative are the categories in this example, which can be identified and worked at various segments as and when we apply. Third important part is clustering about machine learning. Clustering is a form of machine learning that is used to group similar items into clusters based on their features. Like we were talking about the first machine learning example. A botanist might make measurements of plants and group them based on similarities. But scientific names and their proportion is something which we need to work on. Clustering is an example of unsupervised machine learning in which you train a model to separate items into clusters based purely on their characteristics or features. And there is no label given to them. That's clustering. So they group, as you can see. Based on the features, classified, common objects, and defined in the correct values of how it needs to be clustered. Now, how does all this happen, guys? All of this happens with the help of algorithms. Now, algorithm is an activity or is a program which is written behind the scenes. When I say it is written behind the scenes, means it is responsible to have aspect of what and how the flow will be. So your algorithms are nothing but actual programs which are written in Python or R. R is the programming language or Python is the programming language. With these two programming language, most of your machine learning algorithms are written. You can use Java or other languages like C# and activities. However, that depends on different segments. With the help of UI and related technologies, you can further integrate with different aspects. As I said earlier also, there is no best programming language. It's up to your skill set and what you want to achieve. Python and R are different but topmost used programming languages. At the supporting level, we have C++, we have C#, we have Java, scripts, and different aspects, and different other programming language supporting. I hope I have made sense to all of you to understand AI and machine learning. Now let's move ahead with the next important feature which needs to be achieved and which is most crucial in the gaming part as such, which is computer vision. Now, computer vision is one of the core areas of artificial intelligence and focuses on creating solutions that enable AI applications around games to see the world and make sense of it. So if you want to make sense of what you would want to achieve with the visual appearances, it's not only designs, but you will have to create correct computer vision activities so that they can really think, analyze, and work. We all know that it's obvious that computers don't have biological eyes that work the way ours, but they are capable of processing images, either from live camera feed or from digital photographs or videos. Now, this ability to process images is the key to creating a software that can emulate human visual perception. To an AI game, we can have different features around the pixels and activities which will play an important role. An application of these visuals can be applied and divided to understand the computer language, which could be binary. And for programmers, of course, I will take an example of Python for that matter. It is further classifies and apply computer vision for image classification or object detection or semantic segmentation or image analysis or face detection or optical character recognition. These six are the most important and prominent applications of computer vision. And trust me, guys, we are still at very fundamental understanding of what computer vision is. There is a lot more in detail, technical for everybody to experience. As the slide showcases, image classification involves training a machine learning model to classify images based on their content. For example, in a traffic monitoring solution, you might use an image classification model to classify images based on the type of vehicle they contain, such as taxis or buses or cyclists or whatnot. It's up to what you will have to classify. When it comes to object detection, this machine learning model is trained to classify objects within an image, which could be a tree, a cyclist, a bus, a car, or any of that. In semantic segmentation is an advanced machine learning technique in which individual pixels in the image are classified according to the object to which they belong. For example, a traffic monitoring solution where who is wearing mask and who is not. And we all have used face detection in our iPhones or even laptops. And we can further customize that based on the need and identification value. We have developed one of the fantastic solution to a problem for education and training industry. For schools, for colleges, last 2 years of pandemic has been difficult for many corporates as well as education segment uh, across the globe. While you attend your online classes, irrespective of what platform you use, we have created AI algorithm which will mark your attendance and attentiveness both automatically. Whether you use Zoom, whether you use Teams, whether you use Google Meet, any of it. It can be integrated with any application. And all of that is being developed with Python as the language. While we create these applications, there will be multiple services of what we need to achieve. Now, this is all what I just explained. Yes, let me take you through it quickly on how an image analysis or computer vision service works, which identifies a person, age of the person, what he is wearing, and all that factors because machine has been trained that way. From the visual analysis, we have image classification and object detection, both integrated with each other to understand what type of fruit it is. You can apply to it anywhere. This is what I was talking about, the facial services, where we understand the happiness, the attentiveness, the emotion, and everything based on the machine learning services in the application. And this is an important part of what needs to be achieved in the gaming segments. We all might have experienced or played games on PS or Xboxes for that matter. And all of these will have similar programs connected with internet to have various activities. And we also want to have, or probably have, different technology. Now we are talking about the fundamentals of using Python or R or different values. But then guys, with the AI and machine learning growing fast, we have automated services from providers like Microsoft, Google, and AWS, which are leading providers for machine learning services or AI services or gaming services which can be consumed. OCR is reading from the documents which are available. So these were the different types of vision classification which we can perform and work while we define the important part of computer vision analytics. The next important topic today to understand is natural language processing, which is one of the important part of AI into the gaming industry. Natural language processing is the area of AI that deals with creating games that understand written and spoken language. It enables you to create a game that can analyze text, analyze phrases, recognize entities. It could be place, dates, people, weapons, anything. NLP is the technology or program or algorithm which performs sentiment analysis to determine how positive or negative the language used in the game is. It interprets spoken language and synthesizes the responses, and it also automatically translates spoken or written phrases between different languages. And this is one of the important feature which is used in Netflix and Amazon Prime, where even if your movie is in Spanish, it can dynamically convert it into English or Arabic or Hindi based on your preferences, where all models are available. And same can be applied as a feature to your games. So while we talk about natural language processing, the important features with which we can achieve is text analysis, sentiment analysis, speech recognition and synthesis, machine translation, and semantic language modeling for that matter. And this will have different aspects around what needs to be understood. These are few examples. I had a wonderful vacation in France. Sentiment 88% are positive. Predominant language is English. And key phrases is wonderful vacation and entity is France. That's how we need to divide and write our program so we understand and train machine with these variables. We have different speech to text converters or text to speech capabilities to understand and work with these models. It also works with translation, auto translation services. Of course, it is not 100% accurate, but it is near to accurate in different aspects. With all these features, it's also very important for all of us to understand that there are different categories of languages which play an important role while we work and define the natural language processes. Post NLP, the last and most important which we are experiencing in day to day type is conversational AI. Now, this is the concept which every game getting launched these days use. It is one of the important model for conversation, but with a artificial intelligence or pre-created solution. So in today's connected world, from the gaming perspective, we use different technologies to communicate, like voice calls or messaging services or online chat applications or emails or social media platforms or collaborative workplace tools. We have become so used to obnoxious connectivity that we expect the organizations we deal with to be easily contactable and immediately responsive through different channels we already used. So, conversational AI for the gaming industry is not only about the bots, which is something frequently known. However, it is something which can give an experience to what is the process of working within the guidelines of bots. It could be support, it could be connecting with your teammate in the game, or it could be different aspects of process which needs to be undergone. So guys, it's these are the 5 important aspects which we have seen from the AI perspective, which is needed for all of us to consider while planning our game. The concepts like NLP, like machine learning, like conversational AI, regression, classification, clustering, all of that is an important part. And all of this will have important consideration while using a technology. Now, I could see a lot of questions here coming around which language, which technology, is Python good, is C++ good, is Java. Guys, in today's day, in today's world, every service, whether it's a banking service or a taxi service or a food ordering, a Zomato or what's that? I forgot the name of the application. So where you order food and everything. Talabat, Talabat and Deliveroo and many applications. It is not dependent on technology or which technology it is built. The objective of all these applications is giving user experience. Because as an end user, you really don't care whether it is written in React or whether it's written in C++ or whether it is written in Python or R or whatnot. The most important part is for all of us is to understand what type of experience we want to provide, and based on which we recommend and we probably identify and use the technology which needs to be used. Now, this was for a developer. So yesterday we spoke about different game designing principles. Today we have spoken about the development and important AI development concepts which needs to be considered when it comes to game tech. And third important part, which we also need to consider right now and for with which we will speak, is the deployment, going live. That's where you need correct infrastructure. Now, this deployment, basically to host your game, we will need a server. You might have you might be aware that to deploy your games to Apple Store or Play Store, the Google Play Store, you need to buy a developer subscription. That's correct. But what happens at the back end? Ultimately, you deploy it to a server which is hosted by them. So these servers or these activities rely, or these applications are deployed and are available on cloud. These cloud servers probably are either the owned cloud servers, owned data centers by Apple, or the, as an individual, as a student today, we have three important cloud providers about which you need to learn. One is Microsoft, second is AWS, and third is Google. AWS is Amazon Web Services. And all three cloud providers who host your apps have a development platform. That development will be for game, for applications, for services. And second one is the administration, maintenance, post going live support, consistent, and all those services. So it's your choice on what to be aware and what not. However, it is recommended to know how exactly these cloud platforms work. I will play a small video right now, which will give you a glimpse in 5 minutes. And I'll share the link also on the chat on how AWS and a sample GameTech works when it comes to hosting the platform. Let me share my screen in there. Let me open up the video, guys. I'm sharing my computer sound and this video. I hope you all can see the video. I'll just play it. Now this will give you on how do you start with AWS cloud and then move towards a service called Amazon Game Lift, which is available for hosting and deployment. This is a very fundamental video for all of you to understand how to sign up and test Amazon Game Lift, which is a gaming service.
We'll show you how to get up and running with Amazon Game Lift in about 10 minutes. Let's start by creating a free AWS account. For this setup, you'll need 10 minutes time to get signed up, although it can save you thousands of hours of engineering time, and we'll show you how to get up and running with Amazon Game Lift in about 10 minutes. Let's start by creating a free AWS account. For this setup, you'll need 10 minutes time to get signed up, although it could take up to 40 minutes to deploy your first fleet, personal or professional contact information, and a valid credit or debit card, although you will not be charged unless your usage exceeds the AWS free tier or you authorize a priced AWS service. Signing up for an AWS account takes just a few steps and less than 10 minutes. To start, go to aws.amazon.com/GameLift. Once there, click on the Sign Up button located at the top right corner of the web page. This will prompt an AWS Sign Up window. In the AWS Sign Up window, enter the details into each field and click on the Continue button at the bottom. Next, you'll need to fill out some contact information, which will validate your account. You may select personal or professional as the account type based on your needs with the Amazon Game Lift service. Once you've filled out your contact information, read through the AWS customer agreement. If you agree with the terms, mark the checkbox field to agree to the terms and conditions. Then click on the Create Account and Continue button. Next, enter the credit or debit card information that you'd like to associate with your new account. Note that you will not be charged for any services unless your account usage exceeds the AWS free tier limits or you authorize the launch of a new service using an AWS priced model. Once this is filled out, click on the Secure Submit button. Next, you'll need to provide a telephone number for AWS to call and verify your signup. Click Call Me Now to initiate the phone verification. When you receive the call, you'll be asked to enter the 4-digit number on your phone keypad. Upon completion, the AWS setup page will confirm that we have successfully verified your identity. Click on the Continue button to move forward. You should now see a Select Support Plan window. You can pick whichever you prefer, but for free support, click on the Free button under the Basic Plan column. Your free account is now successfully registered with AWS. Go ahead and click on the Sign In to the Console button and enter your login credentials. Now that you've logged into your account, we'll help you navigate to the Amazon GameLift console within the AWS Management Console. This is where you can manage and deploy fleets, build a custom matchmaking system, and monitor the health of your dedicated game servers. To try out GameLift, you can use your own build or deploy our sample game server, which we'll walk you through now. Click on the Services drop-down menu located at the top left corner of the AWS Management Console and navigate to the Game Development category at the bottom. Once there, select the Amazon GameLift service. On the Amazon GameLift page, click on the Test Amazon GameLift button and follow the steps in the preceding webpage. Step 1 is to upload the sample game server to your Amazon GameLift account. Each version of your game server is called a build, and so a prescribed naming convention is recommended for tracking purposes on your development. Step 2 is to deploy the sample game server. Game servers are deployed into fleets of one or more Amazon Elastic Compute 2, or EC2, instances. This part of the process can take up to 40 minutes to complete, so we can skip forward a bit and get a head start on downloading an already compiled sample game client in Step 3, which is just a button click away. When the game client is finished downloading, extract the files into an accessible location on your machine. Once extracted, navigate into the GameLift sample client folder, then into the bin64.release folder, and launch the multiplayer project launcher.exe program. For this example, we can launch 2 programs to see the Amazon GameLift service at work. Once the fleet is successfully generated, you'll see a fleet generated note on the green progress bar, with 100% as your progress. With that, we are ready to move on to Step 4. In Step 4, click on the Generate Token button to get a small snippet of the connection code. Copy the code and paste it in one of the 2 game windows we launched in Step 3. This token snippet should go in the Enter Player Session Token field. Once this is done, click the Connect button to connect your game client to the Amazon GameLift server instance and begin your connected gaming experience. Next, let's connect the second game client that we opened in Step 3 to get the full experience of a connected game. Simply repeat the process of generating a new token and pasting it into the second game client's Player Session Token field, covered in Step 4. And there you have it. Both clients are now connected to an online server instance. Every connected game deserves an establishment of insight and analysis. To view your game server instance and analytics, click on the View Dashboard button to arrive at the metrics page. Here you'll be able to see everything from available player sessions to game session activations, along with infrastructure metrics and health such as CPU utilization and network ins and outs. And there you have it. You're up and running with Amazon GameLift to easily deploy, scale, and manage dedicated game servers. To learn more, visit aws.amazon.com/.
So guys, I am sharing the link of this video and the source code of the game for you to understand how it works in the live environment when it comes to servers, when it comes to deployment, because that's where experience lies into. You have developed a fantastic game with fantastic scenic creative visualizations, but your servers are not working. They're not up to the mark. It's useless. You are at the loss, right? So we all need to understand an important fact of not only develop, but also giving the seamless experience. Now, guys, it's not that I'm promoting AWS. Similar services are available from Microsoft also and from Google also. It's your choice to explore and learn different platforms. This was readily available, and that's where I have shared. You go to the link, there is a video and there is a step-by-step guide to download the source code also. You can do it later on after the session to practice. Yeah, Azure is from Microsoft. So that's why I was saying Microsoft, Azure, Amazon Web Services, and Google. These three are different major hosts, cloud service providers, which we should be aware while we plan the deployment of our gaming applications as such. And from the costing perspective, for you to try and error, there all three, Google, AWS, and Microsoft, all three have free accounts, free tier accounts, which you can log in and create. And these free tier accounts are valid for 1 year and have have the limitation of 1 terabyte live activities. So which means that is sufficient for you guys. So while working with these platforms, we need to use it, test it, and then stop it so that you don't cross the 1 terabyte limit. That's how the complete structure is. I'm open for questions right now. Thank you very much for patiently listening. I hope it added value to your knowledge. And all the questions can be taken right now.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for this wonderful session. Thank you guys for being such good listeners, and I really enjoyed the chat today because it was informative and I think you've learned from each other. We will take a few questions and then we'll give our final words. Ahmed, you can go ahead and ask.
My question is about the AI. Does for a game, does face capture when they hired someone like an actor in a game, and they put the actor's face inside the game and as an AI? How does that work?
So basically, what happens is if you have signed up with a actor, they create a miniature cartoon, and the specifics of features of that actor is defined with the conversational and facial AI for the cartoons which have been created. So algorithms which are developed, those are artificial algorithms where we have inputted all the features of these celebrities, and that's how then they started behaving the way we have inputted these features.
Yeah, so basically, motion capture when it comes to video games or movies is technically AI, right?
Yes, of course.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Ahmed, for asking that question.
Thank you, Ahmed, and thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Noor?
Hello, thank you very much for this very informative session, Doctor. My question is also about AI. It is about the back frame of AI. When you were speaking, you mentioned using Python and R, I think, in order to build the back frame. But you didn't mention any other languages. So I'm wondering if it's preferable for you to use Java and R, and those are the easiest to work with. Or is it just because they came up to your mind? And also, I know that some languages have strengths and weaknesses. Which language did you find the easiest to work with when it comes to AI? Thank you.
So when it comes to AI, I'll go a reverse way. I'll answer your last question first. So when it comes to AI in the industry, 90% of algorithms. What is AI? It's the algorithms, it's the programs which are written, models which are created. 90% of algorithms are written using Python and R. Now, to integrate Python and R, they are open. So Python and R can be integrated with any of the functional language like Java, C# or JavaScript as such. But that completely depends on the program. There are machine learning models pre-created and can be integrated with Python and R. So that's why I said Python and R. However, you are free to use any programming language based on your experience, based on your knowledge, and based on the objective of what you want to achieve in that particular application or game.
Thank you, Dr. Amit, for answering that question. Danielle?
First of all, I want to say thank you, Marwa, for picking me, and thank you, Dr. Amit, for the amazing presentation. I have 2 questions, if you don't mind. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, the first question was one that someone else asked. It is, can NLPs detect sarcasm if the context is given in a sentence?
Yes, of course.
Second question is, what majors and what jobs use text analytics or text analyzation?
So your autocorrection or Grammarly are classic examples of text analytics. In Microsoft Word or Outlook, when you write email or when you prepare a document, it automatically detects your spellings, gives you red marks and all, right? That is an example of text analytics. The website called Grammarly detects the grammatical mistakes also and corrects and recommends. So that's an example of text analytics.
Thank you, Dr. Amit. We'll take Wasim's question.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Amir. Thank you for our host. My question is, how a realistic 3D game can help the deep learning algorithms make sense of the real world? Where modern video games can be both real and imaginary at the same time. It's surprising that these virtual worlds contain educational values that can be leveraged, especially for AI algorithms. This is algorithms need very big data and can this tech help in the real world? Thank you.
Right. Good question, Wasim. So in last 2 days, we have spoken about AI and machine learning and game technologies. Now, we have AI, which is the larger picture. AI is intersected with machine learning, which is a building block of artificial intelligence. Now, machine learning has a building block called deep learning, which we have not covered, but I'll just give you an example or insight on what deep learning is. So deep learning is basically a concept of one more type of algorithm called neural algorithms, which try and thrive to get realistic experiences. So real games are becoming realistic because of these neural algorithms and different modules with which these neural algorithms are written and created. And that's how that can be aligned. I hope I answered your question, Wasim.
Thank you, Dr. Amit. We'll take the next question from Mahad.
Thank you for this wonderful session. And my question is, how does object-oriented programming relate to AI?
Okay. As such, Mahad, there's no relationship between object-oriented programming and AI. However, object-oriented programming is required for you to understand the fundamental programming concepts of any language, whether it's .NET, whether it's Java, whether it's Python, R. To understand the fundamental concepts, it's very important you learn object-oriented programming. Thank you.
Okay, does that answer your question? I think it seems like it. Okay, Rasha, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, thank you for the wonderful session first. I need to ask about you mentioned clustering. It's the technique for machine learning. Which is the most famous one now used in AI? They can help us during the development, gaming development.
Can you rephrase your question once again, please? Rasha, can you ask once again?
He was
please?
asking about clustering and what are the best tools used for that. I think that was her question.
Okay. So clustering is a concept, Rasha, which can be customized based on the different gaming objectives which you want to achieve. Fundamentally, clustering is nothing but if I have to simplify it, it is grouping your data so that machine can understand what type of data is. Now, to use pre-created clustering algorithms, I'll not say what is best or what is not. Microsoft have its own AI cognitive services for clustering. AWS has its own services for clustering. The fundamental remains same. The customization with which you want to achieve depends on what and how you write the program and work on it, Risha. So fundamental concepts and the services are same on all platforms. I hope that answers your question, Rasha.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. We can take the next question from Farbod.
Hi, good afternoon. I just have a question regarding this visual where you detect age and the gender and the expressions of the face. I want to know, like, is it legal to do that? I mean, private companies can do that on like public places or no?
Private companies can do that for their applications.
Okay.
Not for public.
I mean, like, for example, if we have a campaign in a shopping mall or public place, we just like detect the face and we just delete the picture because, we don't want to store the pictures. We just have the data.
If the shopping mall allows you to do it, you can do that. That's perfectly fine. It completely depends on who is trying to do it. Legally, there is no binding as such as of now.
Okay.
However, it's the ownership. If you are using it for correct and responsible means.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Ahmed. Once again, I see lots of people wanting to ask questions. Please raise your hand. Keep it raised for me to be able to allow you to ask the questions. Ammar, go ahead, ask yours.
Hello, and thank you for this session. And I just want to ask you about, is the experience in artificial intelligence enough to enter or enough to enter to the work on application AI in games or any another side field?
Fantastic question, Amar. Thank you very much for asking it. I completely missed giving this insight. So guys, if you are aiming, I'll keep the game part aside. If you are aiming your career in artificial intelligence, there are three important skill sets which you need. First, either you need a technical knowledge, probably computer graduate or postgraduate on computer science. That's the technical knowledge. Second, you have statistical or mathematical knowledge or experience. And third is the domain in which you want to apply this. It could be gaming industry, it could be banking industry, it could be government industry, it could be anything. If you have any of these, you can enter into the space of artificial intelligence.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just asked if I have experience and I know in machine learning and deep learning and how to build neural networks, for example, but I don't have experience in the specific domain like gaming or banking or maybe medicine field?
That's fine. That's
Can I
perfectly
enter
fine.
in this?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
That's what I
Okay.
said.
Okay.
Any
Yes.
one of these
Thank you.
three, if you have any one of these three,
Oh.
you can enter.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Ahmed, for the session, and thanks, Marwa, too. So, as you mentioned, Python for artificial intelligence, but as we know, mostly Unity uses for game development, works
Jane?
with C# and JavaScript or both. Is there any libraries with artificial intelligence you can use in C#?
Yes, Amla, there are. And when you work with Unity, Unity also has libraries which can integrate with or can be used with different algorithms which are created within machine learning with Python.
Okay, I
So
understand.
Unity becomes your IDE, integrated development environment for UI. At the back end, there are scripts generated which needs to be integrated with the core host of artificial intelligence component.
So you can integrate like C# and Python and work with
Yeah.
them in Unity.
Yeah.
Yeah, like JavaScript with JSON and things like that.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Abdurrahman. Sorry, I mean Abdullah Umar, go ahead, ask your question.
Hello, excuse me. Thank you, Mr. for this lesson. And I want to ask something about out of the session. We have more lessons, or this is the last lesson for the last lesson?
Yeah. So this for this particular GameTech with AI, this is the last session. But we have, if you want to practice and have the access to the labs and do everything and experience about AI, we have a session called Experiential AI, which is scheduled. You can nominate yourself on that particular session also. But for this
Sure.
session, GameTech with AI, this is the last session. There are two more sessions. One is AI for everyone, and second one is Experiential AI. Experiential AI is where we will do a lot of hands-on, will be as a workshop. So if you want to do a hands-on workshop on AI, please nominate yourself for Experiential AI session.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Amit. You guys can still register in any of the sessions available online. As for the GameTech topic, we've already completed that today, but there are lots of other topics provided by Data Tech Labs and other entities that you can register for through the link that Hannah will be sharing now on the chat. We will take the last question from Mahmoud, and then I'll give you some final words, Dr. Amit.
Hello, good afternoon all. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
I have a question about anomaly detection that you mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
Is it also responsible of repairing the anomaly, or does it just detect the anomaly?
You can train algorithms to repair also.
Yeah, but if it's I can train it.
Yeah, you can train. You can train your model to repair the anomalies as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Perfect.
Okay, we are a little bit tight on time, so I will give Dr. Amit some final words. I will share his social media handles one more time. Maybe Dr. Amit, it's better if you share it in the chat so everyone can connect with you, because they've been asking about that. And thank you guys once again for joining us. I'm very happy to see that all of you are here with us today and you are quite excited about this topic. If you really like this topic, please let us know on our email address so that we can continue creating more of these sessions, and we have more topics similar to this one, and maybe probably some that are more technical, depending on what you guys want. We are here to help and support you and embrace your talents and highlight your success stories. Also, if you guys are interested in giving your feedback, please share some of your email addresses so we can connect with you to interview you on your experience in this session, please. Dr. Ahmed, the floor is yours.
Sorry, Marwa, I think I missed it. I was just reading the chats.
Yeah, I was saying that if you can share a way that they can connect with you, your email address, social media handles, and if you have some final words for our group today.
Sure. Thank you. So I've shared my LinkedIn link and my email IDs yesterday, and I'm sharing it again today, both official and personal IDs. I would request all of you to use personal ID. That will be better. If in case or in extreme case only, write me on my official ID. Unnecessary because probably I might miss answering you. It has been fantastic experience within this camp, and the audience interacting and talking so much really makes me very satisfied while sharing the experience. I would love to start or probably to give more insights and hands-on experience in the next sessions which are scheduled. So I'm very thankful to Marwa and the ministry who have given this particular opportunity, and we will make sure that each one of you gets up to at least a foundational understanding of what AI is and what you should aim for in your career. Thank you.